You and me both. Good idea. I just had cranberry juice and toothpaste. Not a good combination.
Oh no, not the best. Do you know? Do you know what I do occasionally? I love orange juice in the morning, but
yes,
after I brush my teeth, I always regret it.
It's evil.
It is.
Evil.
Yes, there should be a warning on the toothpaste. Leave it 10 minutes before consuming juice.
Yes. Same thing with cranberry juice. I just did the same thing.
Oh no! Oh no!
You've got gorgeous teeth.
Oh, I think I appreciate that. Yeah, I think they look whiter on the camera than they normally are. But I appreciate the compliment, Kate. Thank you.
I've got a lot of dental work too, but it's finding the time.
So I love the setup that you've got there, Kate. The caterpillar and the blackbird banner in the background, and you're holding someone close to you in your arms. Tell me what's happening.
This is from the Caterpillar and the Blackbird show. It's our puppet, so she's actually in the show itself. So it's
wonderful. And I must say, I was just looking at your poster, Kate. The caterpillar and the blackbird. I love the tagline: "The happiest show of the season."
Thank you. It really is. We've run it a few times in other theaters, and the kids and parents too just roar and scream. So they do come out of the theater singing the songs and very excited. So it is the happiest show.
That's a wonderful message and a thing to be putting out there. What is your hopes and dreams for this year at the Edinburgh Fringe?
This is my first Fringe. I've done the Edinburgh Festival proper. I don't mean proper. That sounds rude. I mean the book festival because I'm an author. Okay. So I've always done the book festival, but I've always seen all the costumes and everything about the Fringe. And to be going to the Fringe now is so exciting. So what do we want to have? Everyone happy who comes to see the show. Us, the actors, the director, myself, having a good time and just feel good. Things are a little bit rough right now in the world. And I just think even if it's an hour of positive escapism, it can really help make a difference.
I think that's the beauty of the thing that we do with theatre. That's definitely what I've found in my life is that escapism, that opportunity to be drawn into to a show, whether it's a children family show or an adult show, and just take you away from some of the troubles in the world for a moment.
And right now there are a lot of troubles, so there's no real big message in the show apart from accepting people and just be nice. And nice isn't bad, and adventurous isn't bad.
And what a beautiful message.
I hope so.
And so tell me a little bit about the show then. What is the caterpillar and the blackbird all about?
All right. The long story short, or short story long, I've been an author now for almost 20 years. And a few years ago, I was asked to contribute to a charity book called Wow 366, which we just happen to have a copy of right here.
Nice.
And in this book, I hope it's showing right side up.
Yes,
in this book, it was a lot of best-selling authors, and it's for Childline. So it was a charity book. It was to encourage literacy. So in this book, each story is only exactly 366 words long. Okay. So I was asked to submit a couple of stories for that, and I did. And one of them was Caterpillar and Blackbird. And the impetus for Caterpillar was having watched cabbage moths decimate, when they were the caterpillars, decimate my cabbage patch. And I just watched them just devouring everything, going, oh, you can only pluck so many off. And I got thinking, but what if there was just that one rebel that didn't like cabbage? It was the silliest thought to come across, but I did. And I thought, what happens if it didn't like cabbage? What would it eat? And believe it or not, that just kept playing in my mind. And I thought, no, caterpillar.
And so that was the seed of a seed of an idea that's now grown into this show.
To a show, because what happened, it got published in the book, which was brilliant. Then I met Tom Dwyer, who's our director, choreographer, and one of my best friends. I met him and his wife and his two kids when I was doing a book signing at Waterstones. Mm-hmm. And even though they're West End stars, they came and they brought their daughters for my book signing, and I signed their books. And you know how you get chatting and something just clicks with people?
Yes.
It did. It absolutely did. And we got talking, and I was awestruck because of all the shows. I mean, Tom and Katie Jo met in Cats. They
Right.
were
Okay.
Rumpelteazer and Mongo Jerry
Mm-hmm.
in Cats. I mean, they were, to me, big. And Tom was in Oklahoma with Hugh Jackman. So it's him big. And I'm just sitting at Waterstone signing books, and it's like, wow, we just connected. We absolutely connected. We've been friends ever since.
Have you any idea? It's quite hard to pinpoint, but when you make friends like that, but have you got any idea what it was that sparked the friendship between you two?
You know, sometimes this is going to sound a little metaphysical, but I can sometimes wonder if it's just either chemistry, chemicals,
Mm-hmm.
or fate. Because we just clicked, and there've been other people I've just clicked with, and it's just you just can't explain it. It's intangible, but it's
Mm.
there nonetheless. And after we signed, they stayed on. We chatted, went for coffee, and it just blossomed after that. And they'd moved down to where I am, which is on the South Coast, and we just stayed friends. And then Tom and Katie Jo knew about Caterpillar, the story. They knew about me talking about Wow 666 and Tom read it and said, "Kate, we could do this as a show. It would be a great musical." And he just has such vision. For
Mm.
me, I'm very on the page, and things are playing in my head, like movies in my head. But because of his background, it's all physical and choreographing. And it's just, to watch him work, it's just a wonder. Every time I see the show, and I've seen it loads now, I still get something out of it. And I forget that I wrote it because I see what Tom has done with it. And I mean, he still makes me cry. God knows how many shows after. There's a song he does that just makes me just start bawling every time.
So tell me a little bit about what Tom's brought to this show then that you never expected to see that when you were writing this you were playing the movie in your head, but now it's something real and tangible. What has Tom put into the show?
Everything physical that you see, to be
Hmm.
honest, absolutely everything. And I think it's amazing. I mean, to be honest, I've only just done my first foray into directing because I had, if I say adult, it sounds adult, but it's not, a comedy for adults or a
Right.
grown up
Yes. Yes.
show.
Grown
And
ups.
I was asked to direct it. And suddenly, dissecting something that way, I can appreciate what Tom did. So he just said, with this, I see this. He chose the music. He said, I see it, and he see it. And he wouldn't let me see his plans until everything was manifest. Then he
Hmm.
said, okay. And then he talked me through it, and it's like, wow.
I
From
think
being,
that's the thing with directing, isn't it? If you allow people to see the plans too early, they can't kind of grasp the full vision. It doesn't
yes,
matter how supportive someone is of the project, even the writer seeing the director's vision. There's still work to do until it's in front of you, and yeah, if you release that too early, I believe I'm a director myself as well, and
oh,
I
are
believe that
you?
that can affect the work.
And all right, let me ask you, and I don't know if I should be asking you questions,
No, of
but
course, this is a conversation.
excellent. As a director,
Yeah,
how would you feel having the author of the work there?
I've had it. A good friend of mine, he writes shows, predominantly children's shows, and it's taken a number of years for us to go from being friends that like each other's work to understanding how we both work.
Yeah.
Yeah, understanding each other fully. It's taken a bit of time, but it's got there on a professional level, and yeah, at times it can be quite tough because I think the writer has a vision and the director has a vision, and trying to find where those two visions meet
Yes.
isn't the easiest of things to do.
No. No. And well, I think this is going to sound terrible, but being an author, you get used to being beaten up by your editors.
Yes.
There has to be so much give and take, and generally, the author has to give a lot. And as if it's a scene you really like, I mean, even Stephen King says, don't be afraid to kill your darlings. Well, I
Mm.
find that really, really hard. but sometimes you just have to. So there were a couple of times with the show where Tom said, Kate, these lines just don't work, or the actors can't get them out of their mouth quickly. And it's like, but it works for me. It's like, no, Kate. So then I have to go back. And because the show is done in rhyming couplets, it means you have to change back, and you want to get a feeling, but then you've got to find words that rhyme to create that feeling. So when something didn't work, it's like, it works for me.
Do you... I know for me and my friend that he's a writer. I know that it can be taken quite personal at times when we go in with that need to change. Have you any idea why, as an author, we take things so personally?
I think from an author's point of view, you live with it day and night for as long as you're creating it, and until you press, let's just say, if we're talking about a book or even first the play, the moment you press send, it's suddenly not yours anymore. But until you press that button, it's yours. And it's because of that, it becomes very personal. And I become borderline territorial of it, and I want to protect it.
Yes, of course.
For example, I just a couple of weeks ago finished a book. And I think the editor had characters they wanted to go one way. And I had to argue with her, and I hate to say argue, or debate, or discuss.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Saying, well, no, the character needs to do this. And she goes, why? It's like, well, because the character told me. Which makes me sound absolutely mad. But sometimes characters take over. And it happened with Caterpillar. And there are certain characters that I didn't expect to come to the fore that did. And they insist on it. In the case of Caterpillars, it's the squirrels. They just demanded screen time or stage time. So suddenly what I thought is just ancillary background characters, so no, they're coming to the front. I had no control.
Now, this isn't the first time I've heard this from a writer about the character told me. The character said this is how it goes. What does that mean to you? What does that look like? And before you worry about sounding mad, I don't think you sound mad at all. I think this is completely sane, and I think this is more, this creative space is more real than some live in.
I agree with you completely. I can't even explain it, but sometimes, and I'll preface this is going to sound mad, but I'll say it anyway. But sometimes I'll come out of a writing session. So I usually start writing about 9 a.m. I'll write till 2 p.m. The next day I read what I wrote the day before. And sometimes I don't even remember having written what I wrote. And I can't help but wonder, am I channeling something somewhere? In which case then I'm not even cognizant that I've done so. I also know toward the end of the day, as soon as I have to start thinking about words or what I want to say, it's time to stop because I'm tired. The words, what I call the words, have stopped. And I notice invariably if I continue writing, I'll be deleting that section the next day anyway. So I can't explain it.
No, it's I guess that's what I'm trying to do with these conversations, get to find some answers, but it is very difficult, isn't it? Because it goes beyond logic. It's the closest way I've been able to find to explain it or heard it explained is a state of flow, where these
I like that.
words move through you. Where they're coming from, we don't know, but they're
exactly. We're just conduits.
Yeah?
We're just conduits.
We're conduits for something.
Yes.
And clearly these works of books or theatre plays, they have meaning and they have purpose to them, don't they?
They do. Well, you can say things without saying things.
Like what? What can be said without saying?
Well, for example, let's take Caterpillar. I deal with a caterpillar meeting a cow that's almost body shaming the cow because the cow is so big. And the Blackbird says, she's here for you now. She's big, black, and white, and here for you now. And the caterpillar tries to eat the cow. Obviously, it's just too big. And the cow just turns around and says, what do you see? Just food on the hoof when you're looking at me. So it's to make people think without ramming a message down your throat.
Yeah.
Or the fox is shy, so she scares consider this, a caterpillar scares a fox. You have to kind of suspend disbelief. but a caterpillar scares a fox or scares a hedgehog or meets a cow or a frog and accidentally kicks a water bottle lid in a pond and the frog gets outraged at the pollution. But it's done in such a way that the message is kind of camouflaged in the fun of the scene. But there nonetheless.
Because I don't think humans like to learn through being told. I think we like to learn through stories. I think that's how we've always wanted to learn, even back to the cavemen.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, the Nords, with Norse mythology, they didn't write anything down. It was just in song and told in rhyme and verse. I mean, the Greeks wrote things down, which thank goodness they did. But it's still, when you look at all the stories and the metaphors that are in there, if you look for them, or you can just enjoy a heck of a good story.
Yeah, there can be that as well. You know, obviously we're going deep here into trying to find the answers as to why
the story of Medusa.
Yeah, but then there is the enjoyment of the thing as well, and like it says on your poster, you know, the most fun, the most joyous thing that you're gonna see at the Fringe, and that's about just simply about having a good feeling.
It is. That's all it is. There's no, oh well, that was heavy. No, there's none of that. It's just fun, and you come out maybe tapping your feet, and the kids are laughing and excited because I'm hoping we can do this in the Fringe. I'm not entirely certain because of the change over time. But normally with our shows, we break the wall of rules where the actors will come off the stage right into the audience and meet the kids. So one moment they're a fox on stage or the caterpillar's on stage, and then they're still the caterpillar, but they're in the audience saying hello to all the kids. And
Wonderful.
They do photo ops and all that in full costume.
Lovely. So yeah, one of the me being a theatre director, I do children's theatre shows 2 or 3 times a year, and one of the biggest moments of the show actually that parents and the kids enjoy at the end, I always do a meet and greet photo opportunity.
Yes.
Where the for me, like the way that I do it, the kids and the families can come up onto the stage.
Oh, that's nice.
And they can meet the cast, and they have their photos, and sometimes that lasts just as long. If I do say an hour show, it can be half an hour to an hour of the meeting and greeting, because the actors get really invested and the children get really invested in this.
They do.
In this interaction, and it can be a massive thing for all of them.
And again, it really adds something to the child, which is, it's still like the magic of Christmas.
Yes.
And it's not just an actor. Now, we did a show last year, actually. Now, this isn't a plug because the book, although it's available on Amazon, this is the book of the Caterpillar and the Blackbird. It's a picture book, which is the script as well. But picture book. Now, the kids, when it's just shows where we can offer the books for sale, the kids can buy it. It's almost like the program. So the kids want all the characters to sign. And I remember last year, this little girl was crying like crazy in the corner. And the mother came over to me and said, we have a bit of a problem. Can you help me? I said, what? She didn't get, I think it was a hedgehog's autograph. She's got everyone else, but not the hedgehog. So I asked her to stay there, had to run backstage, get the hedgehog, get him to put his costume back on and come out and sign for the child. And the child was just beaming. The mother was even more grateful. But it's those little things that, will I remember this 10 years from now? Probably. But will that child, how much longer will that child remember it? So it's all about the fun.
I believe, and having young children myself and bringing them up through theatre, I believe those moments stay with them for their life. I believe those are the moments that inform them of how to interact with the rest of humanity and how to make their decisions. And that little moment that you went out of your way to make sure that child was happy and met that character, I don't believe it'll ever leave. I think that's a solid piece of their foundation.
Well, she's got a whole book full of signatures now.
Exactly, yeah, and she'll never forget that. That's for sure.
One thing that I'm finding, son, you might be finding this too, and I'll be curious to get your take on it.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, we invited multiple schools to our events. So we would have special shows, private shows just for the schools. But more and more, the schools, because of having to get all the permits from the parents and buses and everything like that, they're not doing it anymore. And I'm really, really concerned about the future of theater. If the kids aren't exposed to theater at this age, why will they come to the theater when they're in their adulthood?
Exactly. And
have you
this
encountered
is,
this?
yes. So in the UK, this has been a problem for quite a while, particularly since COVID. The arts have been pushed aside in education. We have this thing in the UK that the government wants to force English, maths, and science on children until they're 18.
Yeah.
And the arts aren't being valued within the education system. It's at my children's secondary schools, there was only one or two opportunities for them to see theatre. Whereas when I went to school, we saw a theatre show at least every year, if not twice a year,
Yes.
and
Or
to get
sometimes
involved with the
shows came
arts.
to the school.
So within the political system, there does seem to be a devaluation of the arts because of wanting to up the intake of the English, maths, and science, which of course they're important. But I think what's being forgotten is how the arts inform those things, how
Yes.
the arts inform English, how the arts inform maths through critical
Yes.
thinking, how it informs science through creative thinking. But no, it seems to be on facts and figures at the moment. So yeah, I
It
am
all
a
seems to be, what
huge.
is it, league tables and scores and what have you. But I'm also finding the pressure because I do a lot of school visits. And I've been
Mhm.
very, very fortunate because I'm signed up with an agency here in the UK that sends me to international schools around the world. I've done
Right, okay,
China twice this year and India late last year.
amazing.
And I think it's Vietnam first thing next year. Oh, and Malta in November.
So
So
have you
one,
found particular countries in the world approaching education and the arts better than other countries?
you may find this hard to believe, and I know there's so much negative press about China, particularly China. Actually, the two countries the most, I've done quite a few, but two that struck me the most with encouraging arts was China and India, and reading for pleasure. So it isn't, I expected, to be honest, and this is no disrespect to any of the Chinese listeners, I expected the Chinese education system to be a lot more regimented than what I encountered whilst I was there. All told, China, I can't even tell you how many schools I did while I was there, 10, 15. And they all seem to have a similar thing of reading for pleasure. And their school libraries were immense, absolutely immense. And here I'm finding libraries. I've been to a couple of schools where there are libraries just in the hallway, and it's a few racks of books
Yeah, yeah.
versus
But
what I've seen. It's phenomenally
they're,
different.
I think we're at a crossroads moment where we can see this change happening, and in some way, I think we need to, with the arts in particular, we need to take a pivot backwards.
I
We need
absolutely agree.
we need to, maybe it wasn't, and I say backwards delicately because it was never fully appreciated, and it wasn't much of my childhood in school actually, but
Did you have drama and chorus and all? We used to have something
I
called chorus where you just go singing.
I did, but I didn't enjoy it. I didn't engage with it at school. I didn't engage with much at school. I was dyslexic, but it was never it was never fully explained to me or looked into why I was struggling.
Right.
It wasn't till I found a theatre group outside of school when I was 16 that the theatre manager took me aside and was like, "I can see some potential here, Martin, and I feel like you're struggling. Let's see how we can help you."
Right.
and and everything I know has come from theatre, not from school.
See
Through
that, and
someone taking
yes,
that initiative and saying, "There's something different about you here. Let's see how we can adjust."
I think taking drama, theater, the creative arts out of schools is going to bounce back and bite them in a few years' time. When I'm scared, if you take that away, you're taking away individualism, and
Hmm.
I am terrified of becoming a drone society.
And that makes me wonder, without sounding like a conspiracy theorist, is that what is wanted? Because to me and you, we're sitting here having this conversation. It seems so obvious, and it's like, how do the people that are in charge not understand this?
What's really scary, and I have to be exceptionally delicate here, and I will watch my words carefully.
Mm-hmm.
I have an American publisher that I'm no longer with. They published my best book, so I still have that relationship. But they changed what they were looking for. And to be honest, I like high adventure fantasy, but accessible fantasy. So basically, it happens on our world. And I don't go for crazy names, and it's just adventure. I don't go for romance. It's just pure, like Harry Potter almost, or How to Train Your Dragon type of pure adventure. A publisher, my editor 2 years ago, came to me and said, Kate, would you consider doing A, B, and C? And I said, well, that's not my wheelhouse. I don't do that. I do adventure. I don't do romance. And they said, no, we'd like you to consider this because that's the way things are going. And I said, well, actually, I can't write that way. And it's not that I suddenly said, no, I'm not going to. It's like, I can't get enthused about the stories. And if I can't get enthused about the stories, how can when I write make kids enthused? So I finally said, I can't. And they basically said, well, Kate, if you can't, we're going to hold off on your next few books. And it's like, well, then I guess we're going to hold off on my next few books. I talked to my agent. My agent was saying to me that, no, right now there's a move to go into this style of books. And I'm saying, but I can't. It's just not something I'm comfortable with, and I don't think I'd do a good job. So my agent said, well, Kate, well, there's always writing for adults. And I said, well, yes, there is, but I'm surrendering what I do. And what about the kids? What about what they want? My sales figures, and I don't mean to bring it down to dollars and cents and pounds and pence, but the number of books I sell obviously says the kids like adventures. Harry Potter and again, Drain Your Dragon and all these, the kids like adventures. They don't want the message. And she said, well, no, that's what they're going for right now. So I got really, really angry in the middle of last year. And meanwhile, Caterpillar was on in shows and watching the kids react to all the characters. You know, it took that unfortunate eureka moment of watching kids screaming. And at one point in time, you really do have to plug your ears because the kids are screaming that much. Because my squirrels come off the stage at the opening, and we've got these giant plush acorns, and they play catch with the kids in the theater while they're settling. You know how you've got that horrible 5-10 minute transition when the audience is coming in and nothing's happening, but there's that building anticipation?
Yes, yes.
Well, we don't do that. We bring the actors, as soon as the audience starts coming in, the actor, not all of them, but the squirrel actors are in the audience, helping the kids sit down. They're just telling silly, silly squirrel jokes. I saw this, and it didn't take that long for me to go 2 and 2. So I thought, that's it. If publishing doesn't want my stories anymore with human beings going on these adventures, I'm putting animals on adventures. And I did something called anger writing. And I found out from some friends that there is such a thing as anger writing. I was so angry with what the publishers and the editors want right now that I said, nope, I'm just going to write for myself. And if nothing happens with this book, fine, I'm just going to get it all out. This is a book about squirrels. Of all the things, because I'd watched the kids reacting to squirrels. So it's kind of Watership Downs meets Warrior Cats, but with squirrels.
Okay.
And I didn't expect it to happen. I got a new agent as well, who still believed in children's books. So I sent it to her, and I got so fortunate. She just loved it. She said, no, let's do a bit of editorial work. She sent the book out. And this was October, latter part of October last year, New York City. So we knew Thanksgiving was coming up, American Thanksgiving. So I said, we're not going to hear anything. And we've got Christmas after that. Not going to hear anything till January. That's fine. I'm working on Caterpillar. And by this time we said we're going to the Fringe. So cool. Within a week, we had the first offer. And it's like, what? And a few days later, another offer. And then another offer. And it just kept getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And my agent said, that's it, we're going to hold an auction. And that is an author's dream come true, is to hold an auction. And then it went beyond an auction. But the one thing that all the editors that wanted the book said, they said to me was, because I'd never had this before, where they all wanted these Skype meetings. And they said, we like the idea of the animals. Let's get away from all the politics of writing for kids like this way. Pure animal stories. So now I've pivoted from doing with children in the stories, it's animals. And they say it's more accessible. And then I don't have to worry about, the message or anything. Like, I can go back to having fun.
Well, that's a great example out there for other writers, isn't it? To hear that story, that and for other creatives, because I don't believe that we can be forced into a creative route, into a creative. We must produce this work. I don't. Yeah. This conversation started with us being channels for the work and things flowing through us. Well, if it's going to flow, there's no force to that flow, is there?
No. But if you suddenly said, Kate, write romance, I'm like, yeah, right. How many people can I blow up in it?
Yeah.
Because I like adventure, and it's like, romance, that means kissing. No. Not that I'm against romance in real life, but it's not. There are romance authors out there, so that's fine. For me, I personally like writing adventures. Or animal stories now. That's really cool.
So take me back to this anger writing then. How did that help you?
Because all the messages they wanted me to put in books, I almost did the anti of. Or no message at all. Just pure squirrels encountering a problem, squirrel clans going to war with each other. Oh, here's the bigger problem. They either come together or they're toast. Mm-hmm. So there was none of the... I have to be careful what I say, because I don't want to go on and say what they wanted, but there was none of the politicking that they wanted in. There was no box ticking. It's just squirrels being squirrels, having to travel to a place to achieve what they need to achieve. It was cathartic for me, but the more I wrote, the angrier I got. I think what made me angry as well was sensing the end of my career. Because if all they wanted was this type of book, and it seemed all the publishers, no disrespect to publishers if there's any editors watching, but they all seem to get crushes. Mm-hmm. When Harry Potter came out, everyone wanted the next Harry Potter, or whatever. If it's James Patterson, they want the next James Patterson. Mm-hmm. They tend not to want it. Pardon? Yes.
They want a sure thing. They want a safe bet.
Exactly. And yet you turn around saying, everyone says, well, everything's the same. It's like, you can't win for losing. Mm-hmm. So I didn't think the squirrel book would go very far. And it just blew me right out of the water in the best possible way. Mm. And not only are they making it a beautiful book, they're illustrating it. And I just got the first drafts of the cover, and it's like, wow.
Wonderful.
So they're taking it, if I say taking it serious, but they are. And it's
I can't wait to read it. When is it coming out? Do we have any idea?
Next autumn.
Next autumn. I really want to see for myself what this anger writing has produced. It sounds amazing.
You should try it sometimes, even if you don't call yourself an author or something. Mm-hmm. If something's really bugging you, just write about it or turn it into a monster and defeat it. I've always done that. I guess it's revenge writing. Never goes anywhere, although with the squirrels I did, because I didn't. But yeah, anger writing. And a friend of mine says, I do anger writing too. They generally keep it private.
Well, yeah, that's interesting about it's not just something for writers. And actually, there was a little period in my life where I was struggling personally, and I had a lot on my mind, that I did write stuff down. And this was some friends' advice. I wrote down all the things that were troubling me and stuff that I didn't want to talk to anyone about because I felt like it was far too personal. Yeah. And then I burnt it after I wrote it.
It's almost like sending it out to the ether, isn't it?
Yes, and it was like a weight had been lifted by doing so.
Yeah.
And the majority of those problems, I think, in doing so, and I'm discovering this now while we're talking, in doing so, I discovered a lot of those problems were imagined scenarios and stories in my mind.
It's funny that when you put them on the page, especially if you've reread what you've written, it's suddenly, or the problems quite aren't as infinite or as big as you expected. And it's almost, I think reading it back is almost like a friend telling you a story, and then you give yourself advice, or you give the story on the page advice. And I've found that really, really helpful.
Definitely, for sure. Now, changing the subject slightly, I'm seeing that we haven't talked about your puppet that you have there on your lap, the caterpillar. So there's puppets within the show?
2. There's the caterpillar. The caterpillar at the beginning, actually, although I call it the caterpillar, this is Tim. This isn't the real caterpillar, because we have a human in a caterpillar costume who's the real caterpillar. But this is Tim. He's probably the first you see. And he has a grim fate, unfortunately. Okay. Don't want to scare the kids. Tim's fine at the end. But at the beginning, it seems like the Blackbird eats him.
Okay.
And that's the introduction of the Blackbird to our hero caterpillar, because she witnesses the Blackbird grabbing Tim. So this poor puppet has been thrown around so many stages. He's getting frayed and everything. But at the beginning, there is a hole here, and then it works the mouth. So Tim starts the story, and he calls the caterpillar ridiculous for not wanting, well, not ridiculous, too big a word, but for not wanting to eat her leaves. And she, meanwhile, is complaining about how bored she is with life. So he's big, so he gets thrown around the stage quite a bit. But at the end, he comes back and he's dancing, so everything's fine with Tim. There's another puppet that's amazing to me because I didn't build it. It's a giant owl. And the owl turns its head and it blinks its eyes and the wings open. So there's a scene where the Blackbird carries a caterpillar to an area where squirrels are burying their acorns. And the Blackbird gets the caterpillar in as much trouble as he gets her out of. But the whole point is to give her a bit of a lesson. So he basically says, oh, there's some acorns. You might like the taste of those. If you don't like anything else, try an acorn. Mm-hmm. So she digs up an acorn and an owl goes ballistic. And this owl tells her that those aren't just nuts, they're baby trees. And talking about how the squirrels are planting the forest and they do forest management. So that owl, when he blows the first time, his wings flare open and his eyes flash and his beak opens. And actually, we were very fortunate. Tom's father-in-law is Carl Howman, who is an actor, and he did the voice of our big booming owl. So he's in the show in a way because he's broadcast, but he's an owl.
Lovely.
So there's the 2 puppets, but it's a highly costumed show. Mm-hmm. It really is. I should have brought one of the heads here, but I didn't. Sorry.
No, you've got them on the poster.
Yeah.
Which I'll be sure to link that to this conversation as well. But so you can see the costumes on the poster. But puppets for me, there's something really special. And I don't know if you've looked into the podcast much, but me being someone that's in theatre, and I do have a love for puppets. In fact, I'm bringing puppets into these conversations. And my co-host is coming to Edinburgh with me.
Oh, wonderful!
His name's Jake. And I have such a love for Jake. I wouldn't normally refer to him as a puppet. I'm only going to do so in this conversation. But
like me with caterpillar.
Yeah, but he's a bird, and he joins in with the conversations with me sometimes. And
but isn't that also cathartic? Because Jake can get away with saying things that you never can.
Yes, and I did a special recording yesterday. Yesterday was my 2-year anniversary of doing this podcasting.
Oh, congratulations!
And thank you. It feels like a momentous moment. And I did this special episode where it was me, Jake, and his friends. And so we had Muffin the monkey, Sally the snail came along as well, Truffles the pig, and Joaquin the snake. And
whacking the snake. That sounds like whacking the snake. Or was that's what?
Yeah, that was the joke. That's because when people walk into a room, they shout "whack him," that was the thing. But I really believe that puppets are great conduits for storytelling.
Absolutely.
It's not just for children. It's not, children can really engage with these puppets, but I believe that adults can as well when they let go of their inhibitions.
Well, look at how well Avenue Q does.
Yes.
That's pure puppetry, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
And the
Yeah,
Muppets.
and
I mean,
having
we all still love the Muppet Show. I'll watch reruns
well,
of the Muppet Show.
I've got all the Muppet shows on DVD. I'm a huge fan, and yeah, and that's exactly why I'm bringing them into this as that channel for storytelling. And yeah, like I say, it isn't just for children, is it?
No. Did you notice, going back to the Muppet Show, when they would
Hmm.
have their guests on, you never saw their eyes dart down to the puppeteer? They were always focused
Yes.
on either Kermit or Piggy or anybody. And I won't say they bought into it, but no, there is something about puppets where when they're animated, they're alive.
Yeah, something magical, and that's why I say I don't like to refer to Jake as a puppet. It's because when I'm doing this with him, I look at him.
Yes.
I don't look elsewhere. And I was having moments last night when we was doing this thing, and I was like, this is like some weird fever dream because I'm fully invested in this world. Like I'm looking at Jake and talking to Jake, and he's staring me in the eyes, and
See, it's that
we're
eye
here.
contact, isn't it?
Yes, yes. And so, yeah, maybe there is some magic in there.
There has to be. I mean, look at Jeff Dunham, how well he's done
Yeah,
with all of his
yeah,
puppets.
mm,
So I think there is
yeah.
something. And again, not to completely repeat myself, but to repeat myself, you can have your puppet say things that you would never have the guts to say.
Yes,
Even
yeah,
though it's you controlling it, you're saying the words, but it's not you, it's Jake doing it.
yes, yeah. Well, with
What kind
Jake,
of.
I must make so. Jake is not part of me in any way, and because these are conversations, it's always improvised as well. So it's really interesting. Jake is definitely saying something different to what the puppeteer would say. There
Isn't
is
that funny?
definitely there is definitely a difference between the puppeteer and the puppet. And when we do these conversations as well, they're not short. We did one recently where it was me, Jake, and an actor, and the three of us spoke for an hour.
Did you really?
And it's like how was that possible? How did that work? I don't know. An
It's
hour of, and I guess for the puppeteer's perspective, she she is improvising for that hour, but it doesn't feel like that. It feels beyond natural,
so it's unscripted and just again conduits, isn't it?
going with the flow,
Yeah,
going with the flow.
absolutely. Absolutely. I'm very much the same. I do like puppets.
Mhm.
Do you say you have a show? You direct shows. Do you direct with puppets then?
Yes, so the last big production that I did with puppets was um, 2 years ago. I did Lion Witch and the Wardrobe,
Oh, wow. That
and
would be wonderful.
I did that all with puppets.
Oh, I'd like to
Um,
have seen that.
it was a community production. It's one of the shows I'm most proud of creatively.
Have you put it
Um,
on YouTube or anything?
not the video. I tend not to record my shows actually because I do believe that there's something missed between watching the production in a theatre and then seeing it recorded. And they're special memories. So there's lots of photos. I'd like to share them with you. I'm sure you'd
Oh,
probably
definitely.
appreciate some of them.
I
But
want to
yeah,
ask
we
you a question as well.
go for
Two
it.
questions, if I may.
Of
What kind
course.
of bird is Jake?
I've been talking to Jake about this. Now, Jake,
How does he self-identify?
well, he's an orphan, so he doesn't know where he comes from. So he might be a sparrow, he might be a seagull. We're not sure. He looks a little bit as well. He looks a little bit like Big Bird from Sesame Street.
Oh, cool.
So he's got some theories that there might be a link to Big Bird.
Yeah.
We're just not sure, and we're discovering things along the way.
If he has a red feather, might be part African gray because I had a parrot who was called Jake who was an African gray.
Well, he's yellow with an orange beak.
Oh, he's not related to
Oh,
my Jake.
let me see if I can. I'll get you a photo now. Actually, it's because like I say, I was only last night was we recording together. Actually, let's get one of the. But you'll definitely see. So you'll be at the Edinburgh Fringe as well, won't you?
Absolutely,
With
for
your
every
show.
show.
Oh, you'll be there for every show.
Every show. I just love it. I love the magic
So
because it's.
here's Jake.
Oh, isn't that great?
So we've got matching shirts.
Do you grab the top of his head every time when you talk to him, just wiggle it?
I haven't. No, we haven't. We've only met fairly recently.
All right, because I want to
go. Yeah. So no, and he's quite well behaved. He's quite. He's quite. Yeah, he's quite a well behaved bird actually, and I think we're still finding our relationship and our boundaries.
Have you had your first fight yet?
We haven't, no, but this is going to be our first trip to the Edinburgh Fringe is going to be together. So we'll be at the Edinburgh Fringe for a week. We're sharing accommodation, so we'll see how that goes.
Oh, you'll get to know each other well then.
We sure will.
You sure will. That was one question, and I had another. I have to, again, be careful how I word this, only insofar as when I've seen a lot of, before Tom and I put Caterpillar and Blackbird out, we went to see a lot of shows. I think it was Postman Pat, and there was other puppet shows, some Julia Donaldson shows. Mm-hmm. And I found, this is just personal on my part, it seemed every single show that had puppets had people in long jeans and bibbers, what they call bibbers. I don't know what you guys call them here. They're jeans with the top coming up. And it always seems to be like a uniform.
Dungarees.
Dungarees, yes, but with the bib up here and the...
Yes, yeah.
Do you do that?
No.
Thank you, I like you all.
So when I did Lion Witch and the Wardrobe, I had my puppeteers in full costume. I actually had most of them in period costume because it's set around the Second World War, Lion Witch and the Wardrobe.
Yes.
And so they were in costume. The guy that was puppeteering Aslan was in a general's costume.
Was he?
And then some of the other children would be in 1940s children's costumes.
That's so much better than these jean bibbers and dungarees, as you called them.
Yeah, it's almost like they found a uniform for puppeteers, haven't they?
It is, and it's just like it is not very creative. I don't know if they're supposed to be invisible, but to me they stand out like a sore thumb because it is these dungarees, and it's just
yes, yeah.
Yeah.
See, I would rather go one way or the other. Like I did with Lion Witch and the Wardrobe, I was making the puppeteers their own thing, and in my mind, I don't know if this came across to the audience. The puppeteer was the spirit of the animal.
That works.
That was how I envisaged it. They were the voice, and they were the spirit, whereas the puppeteer was the being, the so
they're almost the human version of what the character was because they're the spirit.
Yes.
That's clever. See, that's better. That, or even if they're in full black jumpsuits where you don't even see them.
Yeah, so
that would be the other.
Or go to that rather than
brown dungarees. Oh, yes, brown dungarees.
Let's do away with that. Let's start a movement to do away with the
dungarees.
Down
with brown dungarees. I may have just insulted some people who have shows at the Fringe, and if I have, I'm really sorry.
Well, I do look forward to seeing you at the Fringe and seeing your show, Kate.
So do I. So you've got the show. It's you and Jake. Or do you have a show?
We don't have a show as such. We're just going to be travelling around the Fringe.
Oh, that is cool.
And we're going to be finding a location to live stream some conversations from.
Oh, great!
So we're going to come along and see some shows and do some after show conversations. So if you're around, Tom's around. If he's around, it'll be good to have a follow up conversation with the both.
I'd love it. Absolutely, and I know Tom would be thrilled. I think right now you could just stand behind Tom and say, "Hi, Tom," and he'd hit the ceiling right now. He's been in the studio for weeks, rehearsing everybody. working out because of the new stage demographics. He's working everyone really, really very hard. And if I say hi, Tom, with the wrong tone, he's like, Kate, what's wrong? Nothing. So it'll be good to see him mellow out a bit, because he's a really great guy, but right now he's really stressed.
Of course. There's a lot of work to do before we get there, isn't there?
Oh, there is indeed. But I'm so looking forward to meeting you and meeting Jake.
Good. Yes, excellent. And so where do we find you? Where is the Caterpillar and the Blackbird on?
That would be helpful, wouldn't it?
Yes.
It's the Grand Theatre, Surgeons Hall, from the 1st to the 9th of August at 12:10 every day.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for sharing, Kate. And,
it's been a blast.
It's been wonderful. And we'll see you at the Fringe. And if anyone has been watching or listening, we appreciate you for joining us for this conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you. And I hope to see you there.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.